All right. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Let's get ready to get this pre-market show going today. Um, let's look at what we had yesterday. We had a couple of stocks that traded pretty decent. Good morning, Peter. How you doing today?
I am wonderful, Carlos, and yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We definitely
Good.
enjoyed your workshop Wednesday yesterday. That was
Hi, everyone.
very
Hope
informal
everyone is
as
having a
always. So if you guys missed it, it will be in the Education Center, so you guys can definitely check it out after the fact. It should be, I think it was uploaded today or last night. So let's get into it, guys. Let's look at what we have here for stocks in play. Let's look at the stocks in play from yesterday. Here was my watch. This was from yesterday. HQY was not really on my watch. I just had this on here just to see how it was going to trade throughout the day. But the rest were on watch for me. And then these were some possibles, not really stuff that I was watching, just kind of glanced at them throughout the morning, but not really anything that was on my watch, on my side screen. So let's get into it. Let's see what we have here. So we have AMD. AMD's been very active over the last couple of days. Let's look at this daily chart. Again, just a beautiful daily. As we expected here, it's been popping up nicely. Yesterday didn't really get going much, but it's at the all-time high, I believe, right? Actually, not the all-time high. The 52-week high, I think, is this one, 34 something, 34.20. I think it's a 52-week high. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But again, just seems very strong. Has a beautiful daily. Let's look how it traded yesterday. Going right in here. So give you a nice pop at the open. It didn't, again, it was difficult to trade because it had this up and down around VWAP. But if you got a good entry after this candle here, as it went above VWAP towards the high of the day, this could have been an amazing move here. But you had to have a good entry, right? If you chased it here, or up here, you had to wait for this pullback, and that can also be, risky. After it's extended so long, some people might not even take this type of trade. But you can see here, if you got a good entry around the VWAP, close to the VWAP, and not to extend it, it turned out to be an amazing move all the way to 34.05. Then you see the hesitation here, making lower lows on the 5-minute, and then you can see clearly dropping towards VWAP. Another entry here for a possible short. Once you see this hesitation candle here, as you can see that it's trying to do a pullback, sells back down, so a lot of selling pressure, and it turned out to be a great short towards these levels, almost getting towards the low of the day, but not quite. Then from there, it just becomes pretty choppy. But again, if depending on what type of entry you had on here, you could have had a beautiful trade on AMD. MU was a lot cleaner, guys. This thing, again, just been very active. And look at the pre-market action. Didn't have a lot going for it, but it did have good volume yesterday opposed to the regular days. Beautiful open range breakup, guys. No matter if you took it on the body or on the wicks, again, just an amazing open range breakup right around the VWAP. So you got a very good risk to reward. And then it just takes off, never looks back. It gives you a small pullback here before this candle finish up, and you could have got it in here again for another pop towards the top. But again, just a beautiful open range breakup on MU. Engulfing pattern here on the 5, which could be a signal for reversal, and you get a beautiful drop here. This is a difficult trade to take because although you are extended from the VWAP, it's difficult to short a stock that's so strong like this, right? This could be a pullback. People can start buying it up here for it to go higher, right? They want to join the move on a pullback, but it turns out to be a beautiful short. But again, this is not a trade that's easy to take, so don't feel that you want to take every time you see this type of engulfing pattern here that you should take it for a short. In many cases, you get a consolidation here, and then it can get higher. It can go higher if the buyers come in for this pullback. But it turned out to be a great short, and you can see here all the way down to the VWAP. A way to take this trade is having a good stop loss, right? Your stop has to be in the top of this candle. If the price action goes above this 44, you know that there's a possibility that this thing is going to go higher. So right, your stop loss has to be there. With the V up, you have a good risk to reward, but a lot of cases we've seen this type of candles before this type of setup, and the stock can continue to go higher after it consolidates a bit. Also, another tip on here, you want this move to happen right away. You don't want to sit around for it. If you see that it's hesitating to sell down and it's doing this, it's not hitting your stop, but it's kind of consolidating sideways. It could just be picking up momentum to head higher. So if this thing doesn't happen right away, Andrew talks about this, get out of the trade, see what happens. You can always rejoin. You can always rejoin the trade and head towards the bottom. I had American Airlines also here. It turned out to be a good opening range breakup as well. You can see it on whether you follow the wicks or the body. Good opening range breakup. It gave you two opportunities on the 10-minute candle here. 935 candle, and also on the 940 candle, I believe this was. Yeah. So I gave you two good opportunities here to get in. for opening range breakout. Hits the high of the day, heads higher. I think it hit the high of the pre-market as well. Yeah, high of the pre-market right here, and even then some. A little more after that. Also pulled back towards the VWAP. Again, not an easy trade to take. This is more of a V reversal. Back to VWAP, the tough trade to take. This could have been here a good loss of VWAP, right? You enter right at VWAP, say your stop loss slightly above it, and you can want to head down towards the low of the day, which it did just that. So American Airlines was in play. The one thing about this, I was watching this closely, the volume died down a bit. It wasn't great. The price action was not as clean as it was with MU. MU had a very clean pre-market action. Levi was amazing. Unfortunately, I didn't have stocks to short on this one with CME, but I know some traders that got in right in here after this pullback. They sent me the shots of the screenshots. Some of you guys in the chat room also took this short. Again, just a beautiful opening range breakdown. Here's your range. A nice pullback above VWAP. Once you see that this thing cannot hold above VWAP and start selling down, that's a good indication of a lot of selling pressure towards the bottom. You can get in anywhere around here after, close to the VWAP as possible for the crack of the low of the day. It does just that. It gives another pullback, but if you're entering slightly above this level here, you could survive that pullback and then just continues to drop nicely. Again, it's a beautiful trade on Levi. Did a nice open range breakdown there. Nvidia, beautiful open range breakup. It does this candle here, kind of an engulfing crack towards the upside. You get this sell off, and the next candle completely engulfs the previous candle. That's a strategy that we teach in our strategies class. Good entry for a long here, and then just continues to head higher. Not looking back. Again, just was an amazing trade. A lot of these stocks did this yesterday, right? They kind of found a place here where they topped down and just headed back down. These V reversals are very difficult, but this one, again, beautiful V reversal for sure, and right to VWAP here. Next, we have Facebook. So Facebook was another one. Also, you guys, I saw a lot of good trades on Facebook yesterday as well. Not as clean as MU or Nvidia. Norm took a beautiful trade on Nvidia. Make sure you check out his screenshot on Twitter, and then you can see here. Oh, my gappers list. You're right. I forgot to put the gappers list. Thank you, man. Let's bring that over. Pre-market show gappers list. Here we go. Let's make sure this is on top. All right, that looks better. Okay, I'm sure I would have noticed it when I was starting to get into the next segment looking for the gappers. All right, so here we have Facebook again, opening range breakup as well. Very nice pullback right to VWAP, which we'd like to see. This is a great entry towards the top. Say your stop loss slightly below the moving averages, so you can give yourself a little room. And it takes off. Not as clean as MU and AMD. I'm sorry, MU and Nvidia, but also very nice. I was mentioning Norm took an excellent trade on Nvidia. Make sure you check that out on his Twitter. He posted up the picture of a screenshot of the trade he took on there. Roku just was very choppy, guys. Not easy to trade. I did not watch the price action closely on this one, so I'm not sure how this one went. But it kind of just popped up, looks like here, and just kind of sold off, but not in a clean manner. So I don't see any type of good pattern here that you could have picked up. HQY. I was watching this one because I wanted to see what the action was. And again, it went on a nice little trend trade here after it did this up and down here, kind of held the VWAP, and then it just kind of held the 9. It just went higher and higher. So this was nice to trade. But again, I was just watching it to see how the action was going to be, not to actually take a trade on it. So that's what we had yesterday, guys. A lot more stocks that are trading nicer. So this is good. We're starting to see more activity in the market, which is great for us. Let's get into some news, Peter. What do we have going on today and for the week?
All right. Well, for today, we're seeing international markets slightly higher. So European and Asian markets have been in a downturn for the last, 4 or 5 days or so. They're modestly higher today, so that's good. That being said, seeing a lot of nervousness out in the world, just things that we have to watch for that may affect certain stocks. There is a UK tanker that was attempted to be taken by Iran, I think, and we're seeing that concerns over job reports in Europe. So, I don't know if those are going to affect the U.S. markets today. I mean, we're seeing the SPY this morning. So far, it was actually up, and it still is up modestly. But boy, look at 8:30, that big drop that the SPY made. So it's signs of jitteriness. So we'll be cautious. We'll trade things in play, and hopefully they'll move with their own momentum and not get shaken by general market activity.
Excellent. All right, guys. So let's look at our gappers list. Let's see what we have going today. Let's make some room over here on our watch list. Have quite a bit today, more than the last couple of days, so this is good. let's see what we got cooking here. So let's start with CI. CI is up 8.5, 113,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market action is looking pretty decent. Higher price stock at a 173 right now. Daily looks interesting. It has a good daily chart. Clearly, it has some levels here that we can look at. A price action sitting on one of them right now. We got some other ones down here as well. So I like the daily on this one. It's a little higher than what I like to trade at price-wise, but I do like this pop up quite a bit with some decent volume so far this morning, and it seems to be getting some kind of good pre-market action going. It's a little bit early, so hopefully this thing can get going. Peter, what do we have as far as news? Is this an earnings or what's the situation with this stock today?
I don't know. CI doesn't release their earnings until the 1st of August, so that's not it. I don't see any news that's driving this, so I'm not sure.
All right, excellent. Let's see. We have CVS. Looks like we have a lot of. All right, I see a comment on here saying some healthcare stocks are on the move today. Okay, so that could be it. So we have CVS also here up 6.1. So maybe there's some healthcare news out there that's causing these ones to pop up today. So CVS is up quite a bit, 6.1. Daily is very choppy. You can see here it's just kind of not clean. That's why you have all these moving averages and levels all over the place in this area. But it's popping up nicely today with some good volume, almost 700,000 shares traded. We got an area of resistance there that we'll look at in a second. We can see if it wants to break out of that. So it also broke out of this resistance we have from previous pre-market show. Looks like 57.27. That's a clear area of resistance. It has broken through that already. The next one is battling right now around 58.88. Let's look at pre-market action. The activity in the pre-market looks good, guys. We have some good volume here, a nice little uptrend. This one is shortable, so I think we'll have some fun with CVS today. Next, we have WAAS. This one is up 6%, 110,000 shares traded so far this morning. Pre-market action is a little bit all over the place, not as clean as like a CVS. Wow, daily chart is nasty. Seems to be really all over the place. So it gapped down quite a bit here. And now we're kind of settled in. Now we're gapping back up. So not sure what the news is on this one. Peter, you see anything exciting going on with WAAS?
They announced a secondary offering. Normally that drives the stock price down, however, but in this case, that seems to be pushing it up. That secondary offering is 4 million shares at 16.88 a share. Yeah, normally that would be considered dilutive, but I guess we'll have to watch it. It's the only news I see on it.
Yeah, so again, right now it just has a very nasty daily chart, not a clean pre-market action. It's got some volume, 110,000 shares traded, but again, not anything clean at the moment. So might not be one that we look at today. Snap, as we know, guys, this one is could be very choppy right now. Pre-market action not doing anything too exciting on the small uptrend. Though it has 286,000 shares traded. Again, nothing exciting right now. Daily charts it's just nasty, right? Look at how choppy this is. It barely moves, right? It takes a long time to get going. Let me remove some of these levels out of here. But it's one of those stocks that, again, if it's not really in play, you rarely get good moves out of it. Look at you can see this by the daily. Look at the daily, how small these bodies are, right? These bodies on the daily. Look, here you have a day where it gapped up and sold off. That's nice, but you rarely get these type of days, right? You rarely get these type of days. So right now is up quite a bit, 2.1. Looks like is this a 52-week high? What are we looking at? Possibly, yes. It looks like it is. So we have some levels here we can look at, but again, Snap is one of those stocks that you got to scalp it for a couple of cents. You're really not going to get a big move out of it. We'll take a look at it. Hopefully that pre-market action gets a little better. It's got some volume, 273, but nothing too exciting at the moment. Let's look at DAL. DAL at the moment, 323,000 shares traded. We are up 2.2. Pre-market activity pretty flat. It's kind of got a nice little pop here, but then it's just kind of been flat the last couple of minutes. Really, a lot of the volume sitting here, 86,000 shares in this one candle, another 50 or so in this candle here. So even though it has 323,000 shares, not creating a really nice pre-market activity at the moment. Just going to remove some of these levels here. Again, daily chart. When we say the daily chart doesn't look clean, this is what we're talking about. You see, it just seems very choppy, not moving much. This type of activity doesn't look great. A lot more wicks than body as well. If you can see, some of the wicks are larger than the actual body of the candles. So this to us is not really a good daily chart, right? So that's what we're looking for. So seems like it doesn't trade well. It's up today 2.1. Do we have any news or on DAL? And this is what this is Delta Airlines.
Yep, this is an earnings play, so they had beat their revenue numbers on strong pricing. So I guess they increased their rates, and it's driving pricing increases and helping their revenue.
Gotcha. All right. So here, let's see what we have. All right, so let's go over. All right. Okay, excellent. So now let's go over, what do we have here? We have FAST. Let's see what FAST is doing. FAST is down 3.5 at the moment. And as we can see here, not the best daily chart right now. Seems pretty, it seems okay. But what I do like, we have a level in here. Also, we had a moving average as well. It's got some good volume, 333,000 shares. Let's see how the pre-market activity is looking on FAST. Not great at all, guys. Pretty choppy at the moment. Again, it does have some volume, but not a good pre-market activity so far this morning. What I like about the daily, it lost this support it had here for a couple of months here, right in this area. It lost the support today, and it's almost barely holding on to this next level of support here. Actually, this in the pre-market already has lost it, has gone down to as far as 29.17, and is struggling at the moment. So I like the way that is setting up on the daily, but the pre-market activity is not looking great. Peter, anything exciting on this one? Down 3.5 this morning.
Again, another earnings play. In this case, they missed their revenue estimates, so it's dragging the stock down.
Gotcha. I'm having some computer issues, guys. Apologies, I got disconnected. Let me just get connected back. Not sure why is happening. The second time I get disconnected, so apologies for that. Let me just get this up and running. All right, excellent. Okay, so FAST. All right, so we have another earnings play sitting on this. That's the 50 or the 200. That is the 200 moving average. So the price action right on there right now. Let's hope we get a better pre-market activity as the morning develops. So that's what we have on our gappers list, guys. Let's head down over to our NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers. Let's look at what do we have here. CODX. Oh, this is exciting. CODX is 5.6 million shares traded so far. On the daily, we can see here is what's the float on this one? It can't be too high. Seems more of a penny stock. It's actually a 15 million shares flow, higher than usual. I was expecting something like a 4 or a 3, so a little higher than usual. But it is somewhat of a penny stock. It trades under $1 here. You can see a couple of days hitting under 80 cents. Today's gapping up 74%, guys. But again, you got to be careful with this one. Although the ATR is only 6 cents at the moment, today is moving a little more than that. And you know how these low flows can be. They can go as fast as they can go up, and even faster when they head back down. So be very careful. You're going to trade this one today. This one's definitely in play for the low flow team. Looking at the daily, do we have some levels we can go off? Interesting candle here. Look when this thing gapped up, came up, and then sold off for the rest of the day. So it just kind of tells you when it gaps down, it's good at selling down when it gaps up. All right, so we'll take a look at it. Looks like we looked at it before, obviously, on this day when it had this huge gap, right? We have some levels in here already. Look how this 208 is also the area where it's having some resistance. So we had that from before. And look at that 208. Again, these levels are what people are looking at. We're not the only ones. So clearly, that 208 is showing some resistance today on the way up. So we'll look at COD. Let's throw it on here for our low flow stock this morning. CODX, TRNX, a usual penny stock, not tradable. Same thing with SLSS, FRSX. Has 740,000 shares traded, but again, this is a horrible pre-market action, not clean. So guys, this one is bad, and then this one is a good pre-market action, right? You see that the flow coming up, coming down. This one here, FRSX, there's no pattern here. There's nothing going on that looks great. This could change and it could become tradable, but at the moment it's not looking great. And then now looking at the daily charts, even worse, right? Daily charts also not giving us a good indication of some good patterns. I mean, it's just no good flow on here. And I'm assuming this is probably a low flow stock as well. FRSX. Actually, it's a little higher than I expected. 20 million shares flow, but it still trades like a low flow. It, again, doesn't trade very clean at all. The last couple of days, look at the pattern, has been very erratic, just all over the place, pretty flat in this area. So again, just nothing clean about this one, so I'm just going to bypass it. Our buddy AMD is here. Again, AMD has a beautiful daily. Go ahead, Peter.
I was just going to say, just the only thing I like about FRSX is the increase today is because they've released for public release a product called iNet, which just sounds like a Terminator type thing for all those of you that are familiar with Skynet. Anyway, but it's actually interesting technology. It's intended to avoid accidents, and they're releasing it to the first 30,000 people that sign up online to download it to their phones. Don't quite understand how it works, but it might have some interesting implications. So we'll see if that gets some excitement in the market. Because I agree with you. I look at it. The pre-market isn't exciting. The daily, to me, looks terrible. But I'll just keep a quick eye on it in case it starts to move with a lot of volume during the day.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, who knows if some of that excitement is already built into this day here, right? So you might not get a lot of movement, but it'll be good to see what happens out of that. Because I'm assuming that some of that excitement was probably released on this day as well, because it's just out of nowhere you're popping up to $3 from $1 with a lot of volume compared to what they usually trade. So yeah, it could be interesting to watch. If anything gets better on this one, definitely let me know. So let's head down over to, we're looking at AMD. AMD has a beautiful daily chart, guys. It just looks like it wants to break out or at least go back up and test this 34.28 we have from the high of this day here. Has been in a beautiful uptrend the last couple of days. AMD is worth having on your list, as well as MU. Now that we're talking about it, I'm going to watch MU because MU also seems to be having again a very nice daily. Let's remove some of these levels, we'll get some fresh ones. Just a very clean daily chart as well, kind of following the steps of AMD here, but AMD has been on a nice little run up as well. All right, and then we have RVLT penny stock, so we'll skip that one. BBBY, this one we traded this one before in the past. This is Bed Bath & Beyond, guys, but just look at this daily. This is a horrible daily chart. Why? It barely moves. Look how choppy it is, right? Look at the choppiness between all these candles. Unless it's really in play, and today is down 5.1. Are we heading towards the all-time low? No, we have a little spot over here that we had up before. Unless it's really in play, look at some of this volume here, right? Unless we're getting some serious volume, we can get some good moves out of it. But unless we're getting that type of volume today, it's really not tradable. It doesn't trade well, just based on the daily candle. But I like the fact that we're heading down towards a level we haven't been at in a while. So that daily, in the fact that is down 5.2, it could be interesting. Could be a possible short pre-market action as expected. Not looking great. It's got some good volume, but again, just not giving us a good pre-market activity at the moment. Is this an earnings play today?
Yeah, it is. So once again, misery continues for Bed Bath & Beyond. They missed their estimates again. And as you pointed out, Carlos, they're heading towards that low. I think it's 1046 where that candle spikes down to. It isn't an all-time low, but it's as close as you get to it. Because the last time the stock was this low was 1998. Wow. So I think it's potentially worth watching because if people just completely lose faith in it, we could see some motion today. But as you point out, right now, yeah, it's got a really low ATR. It doesn't tend to move much, and we'll just have to see if it changes.
Yeah, not looking too great, but again, the fact that it's that close to the all-time low, and also this a level here as well. I'm gonna mark it now because I'm right on it, 1048, and it looks like we haven't hit that yet. 1048, 1050 or so. We were there back in December, so we'll see what comes out of that. It's worth definitely taking a look at it just because of how low it is, but we got to be careful. It's really got to be in play, guys, because it can be choppy. As you can see here, barely moves, right? Look at these days where it's just chopping around, barely get a cleaner daily trade out of it. Next we have FCEL, also one that always pops up on here. Penny stock, not really tradable. NASDAQ ETF, volatility index. Let's go over NASDAQ gainers. On this column, we already looked at CODX. We have that on here. IMUX. All right, IMUX has an interesting daily chart here. Look at this mess. This is messy. We're going from 10 to 25 to 30, all the way up to 45. So that is something. Let's check what the flow is on this one. IMUX is a 1 million shares flow. I'm not even going to touch this. Again, right now it doesn't really have volume anyways, but it has a really dangerous daily chart, so we'll skip that. FRSX, also a one that we spoke about earlier. We'll see what comes out of that. OMER at the moment, no volume, only 34,000 shares traded. I do like this pop up here, 12%, but again, it's just the daily is also, it seems to be a little not as clean as I would like to see it. But again, the volume is not there, and the pre-market action based on the one, you can see it's not giving us any good opportunities or a good signal. AQST, no volume. What do we have here? DVAX, also no volume. I'm looking up here, guys, for the volume. There's nothing going on there. Next we have AGRX, horrible volume. ICAD, nothing going on. ATOS, usually not really tradable. You can see here it's dropping down, so no volume neither. NTNX, looks like we looked at this one in the past, has 50,000 shares traded right now. It is a 5.4. Pre-market action is not great, but the one thing that I am seeing here that kind of looks interesting, let's remove these levels, that kind of looks interesting is that it's been stuck within this range, right? And now you're gapping up, and it can possibly break out of this range here that's been stuck in, right? So you got this nice little level here right where the price action is at. If it can break out of that, your next level could be this area here. That's the only thing that's interesting about this. What is the flow on this bad boy? NT and X, 139 million shares flow. So again, has no volume. It is up quite a bit. Any news on this one, Peter?
It's being raised by just general buoyancy in the tech sector.
Okay.
I don't see any news for NTNX. I've watched this in the past, including last week. I think it was Friday maybe that it was on my list, and I've always found it very choppy, so hard to get a read on it. At least that's my sort of what I saw. So I don't think I'll be watching it myself.
Gotcha. Yeah, so again, that's the only thing that looks interesting is this right here. Volume is not there. Pre-market activity is not there. But if you have space, this could be one that you could watch just to see what it happens. In fact, you know what? I'll probably tune into it later in the mid-morning just to see what it's doing. Just curious to see how if it can break out of that area that it's in. So NT and X I'll put here as a possible. All right, let's head down over to the chat. Peter, do you have anything that you like this morning that we don't have on our list?
You actually covered everything. I thought there was going to be a few, but you hit them in when we were looking at the market movers. So yeah, got them all.
Excellent. Let's look at in Norm's absence. Let's look at Norm's top 4. So here we have Apple. Let's see what's going on with Apple. It's just kind of stuck within this range. Not really doing much right now. Again, just the daily chart lately has been very crappy on Apple. So let's look at Roku, see what Roku's up to. Didn't have a great trading day yesterday. Roku has a nice daily chart. You can see a very nice comeback here, hitting this is the all-time high here, as we mentioned, at 108. And I don't remember what it was. It yesterday, the day before, where they traded very nice. Actually, it had to be on this day here. We expect a continuation, and I think Andrew took an amazing trade. And a lot of you guys as well took an amazing trade on this day here. So it's kind of got like a bull flag going on the daily. It can go either way, so we'll have to see. It's doing higher highs, higher lows in this area. So a possible breakout, or at least a test of 106 again is possible. Who knows? It can go either way, but right now, hard to tell. The next one we have is Nvidia. Nvidia traded amazing yesterday. Give us some good opportunities. Also has a very nice daily, kind of bouncing back here as well. Some very clean levels we can go off here. So I might keep that on. Let's see how we go when we get through this list. If we can find something that doesn't look better, I can replace with Nvidia. And what's the other one? What's this one more Norm likes to watch? We have Apple, Roku, Nvidia. I'm missing one. I can't think of. Facebook. Thank you guys. So you guys are paying attention. I love it. So Facebook is the other one. Norm's top 4 here, and Facebook has an interesting daily as well. So again, but no volume right now. Pre-market activity is not looking great. But if you watch these 4 stocks on a regular basis, their daily are short. They look very strong right now on the daily. So all right, guys. Let's get into some announcements, and then we'll go over into finding some levels on what we have here, kind of eliminating the week, what looks good and what doesn't. And we'll get a watch list together. Peter, what do we have?
All right, so just a couple of announcements for this morning. I'll just remind you that we do have our lifetime member webinar. So anybody who's a lifetime member, you have the opportunity to join our webinar tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. So that's always a good chance to get your questions answered, have sort of one-on-one time with some of the moderators, and get some feedback on any questions you may have. We ask that you submit them in advance in the posting, sorry. But if you don't have that opportunity, we'll still take your questions during the webinar. So join us tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, and that'll be a great session. We have extended our Independence Day sale, so I've mentioned it. If you're just sort of joining us on an interim basis, you want to consider joining full-time, this is a great opportunity. So we've got a 30% discount on our lifetime membership. Whether you buy it with the DAS simulator or not, it's 30% off, and you can take advantage of that with the code INDEPENDENCE. So use that code when you're signing up, and you will get that discount. Last thing I will mention is, as I've said almost every day here, that we will be doing our podcast coming up towards the end of the month, July 26th, Friday the 26th, with Dr. Brett Steenbarger. He's going to be joining us. That'll be an interesting opportunity to sort of hear his perspective. Submit your questions in advance. We're still working on the details of setting this up, so if you get your questions in advance, that's the best way to ensure that they'll be answered, depending on the format that we managed to set up this session in. So do that. The forum link is above, posted by Abiel, so thank you, Abiel, for that. Please check it out and post your questions there. I think that's it. I'll just mention, I guess, a last thing that we do have support all the time. We ask that in the room here, if you have questions about your trading platform, about configuration, any challenges you have, use the off-topic tab. We want to keep the main chat free just for trade ideas and stock information. So that's what we like to keep in here. Everything else goes into off-topic. But if you've got detailed questions where you may need help directly, someone to sort of look at your configuration, give you support, we do that, and you can go into our forum to get additional information, or reach out to our DAS support technician who will give you help, and you can find information on our site right off our homepage for that. So that's it for announcements, Carlos.
All right, excellent. Folks, let's get into it. Let's see what we have here. Let's start over with CI. All right, we got one more here, WBA. Let's look at that one. WBA. What do we have on WBA? Let's move some of these levels here. So WBA also, it's like CVS, Walgreens. We got CI. These are all health type stocks. This one is also up a bit here, 2%. So there's got to be some news going on with health, right? Someone mentioned something was happening in that area, so something's got to be happening there. So this one's up quite a bit. Go ahead.
Sorry, there was, Carlos, and I didn't see the specific news, but thank you to everyone in the room. This is one of the big values of having the room, is other people can pick up on the stuff that you missed. So it looks like that there was a rejection of a healthcare proposal to remove the discounts, which is obviously a benefit to these providers. So that's something that from that political move is causing moves in these stocks, because it's a net benefit to the organization. So it looks like the whole healthcare and the pharmacy industry is going up today. So we should see Walgreens, we'll see CVS, we'll see Rite Aid. All of them should see a little bit of a pump because of that.
Excellent, guys. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna probably pick the best one out of all of them based on the criteria I like: price, movement, and volume, and then keep one out of all the health sectors, so it can give me a little more space to watch other stuff. And we got our scanners. If CVS or CI pops up, we can always switch to those. Okay, last one here, TNDM. Up 5.4. It's just hitting also our gapper scanners right on here, as you can see, because it's going over 100,000 shares traded. Daily seems to be all over the place. We have traded this one before in the past, especially when it gapped up here. You can see we have a level here, 60.16. Again, it traded nice on this day. I recall that. I had a great continuation day. Look at the volume, right? So when the volume is in there, definitely in place. So we have traded it before. It has traded well. Today, pre-market action actually looks okay. Although it has 102,000 shares traded, this looks nice. It has a nice little uptrend here. This could be worth watching. And on the daily, again, pretty choppy, although it can move. This thing is going from 62 to 68 on most days, right? You kind of see the chop in here. If it can break out of this level here, it can be a nice trade. So, you know what? Worth looking at it. We will look at this one closely as we do the level. So let's start at the top. So CI. So what I'm going to do is CI looks like it's in play with all the health talk. We have a very nice level here, 180. 180.52. This one is becomes support and resistance, so we have a very clean support here. You got a nice little bounce. Support again. The next day cannot hold it, sells off, and then becomes resistance. You can see here, hits it back up, and it's not able to break through it, sells right back down. So we got a nice level there. This is also another great level, another level that becomes support and then resistance, right at 173.55. You have a drop, you get a bounce, you know, kind of ping pong action here, boom, boom, heads back down, and then it loses it, comes right back up and tests that 173.55 one more time, and then sells off. So that could be a good area if this thing wants to sell back down and bounce from there. That could be something you want to watch. You could mark down the high of the pre-market as well, sitting at 178, basically 177.68 to be exact. You could mark that down on there as well. So this one looks interesting. And then towards the bottom, if we lose this 173.55, the last time we have some kind of resistance on here is this level 170. So 170, very clear resistance here, there, and also here as well. So that could be exciting. And just in case we lose even that one, another clean level of possible support right at 65. We got a level right in here, 65, 165.94, and you can see how that 165.94 was also support and resistance a couple of days in here. That's enough levels for that. Just one more here, guys. Sorry, but this moving average is sticking out right here, 182. Definitely mark that down. That's a nice moving average. If we can get going, if this news is strong enough, this can actually get going nicely. So we have another one here, CVS. CVS also up 6.6. Very nice pop. Let's remove these levels, get some fresh ones. We have 59.36 high of the pre-market. We have a very clean level here, guys. You can see it several days hitting this 57.71 area. Again, just get the marker here, here, back down, and then you gap up, still cannot break that 57.71, heads right back down. Also notice on this beautiful drop here we got coming in, you got two levels. You got this one here, the 57.71, and then also it tries to get back up and test that where the high of the pre-market is right now. Can't quite make it, but you can see how it tries to hesitate at this 57.71 and head back up. So definitely mark that down. And there's no coincidence, guys, that once it loses 57.71, look at the drop, right? Buyers believe here once it lost that, there's no hope. Nice little drop all the way down. So two great levels. Another one towards the bottom. Let's see if we can find something clean towards the bottom. I see one right here. This could be an area. I just want to have something in case we decide to head back down. So funny. It's very close to the low of the pre-market, 56.21. But again, I was looking basically on these days here. You got a high here, you got some support on here as well, some support here, also some resistance, and it actually turned out to be very close to the low of the pre-market. So that 56.21 is nice. Then one more towards the top, because the price action is very close to the high of the pre-market. 60.60 is a great area where you have some loss of momentum here on the way down. You can see some support being found there. Couldn't hold, sold off, but at least you have an area for a possible profit taken if we head north. WAAS is, again, this is not looking too great, guys. I don't like the pre-market action right now. It does have some volume, 263. I don't like the daily chart neither. So just based on those two, I'm going to remove this one. If it hits our scanners and decides to go one way or the other, we can pop into it. But right now, I just don't like the way it is looking for me personally. Snap is one that, again, it's a nice little uptrend here on the daily, but it's one that doesn't move much. So for me, I'm going to remove this one and watch it on the scanners if it pops up. Also, for me personally, I don't have shares for short, so I prefer to have something that can trade both ways. So I'm going to remove this one here. DAL, Delta Airlines, has a nice pop here. Let's see how the pre-market action has developed. Still pretty much flat, still not doing great. It is a nicey stock. We'll have our levels ready to go just in case. 61.27 high of the pre-market, low of the pre-market, basically right at the high of 2 days ago, around 59.95. So we don't need to mark that. Towards the bottom, plenty of levels. Don't add any more there. It's not needed. You got the highs and lows from 2 days ago. here. You also have the previous day close right in the middle. So plenty of levels towards the bottom of the price currently. Towards the top, where are we here? Okay. 61.28. Look at the 61.28 right on the peak of this this push up here. So 61.28 is a good possible resistance area. What do we have above that? If we can break out of this, what do we have above that here? Is this all-time high? I wouldn't believe it is, not for airlines, but it could be. Yep, I think it is. All-time high, guys, so that makes it even more interesting. It looks like we tested it right on there, couldn't crack it, heading back down. This is definitely something worth watching today. Let's look at fast. Fast is not going anywhere fast for sure. This thing looks nasty. No good pre-market action. It has 388,000 shares traded, but look at this pre-market activity. It's just not clean. So I'm just going to remove this one. Get rid of that one there. AMD doesn't have a clean pre-market activity, guys, but the volume is there. The daily chart is great. We can possibly head up to test this 34.28 today. It's been on a beautiful uptrend here on the daily, so I'm looking forward to seeing this one. We know it's going to get the volume at the open. It already has amazing volume, so let's see what we can get out of it. MU here, guys. MU at the moment pretty choppy as usual. Nothing new with MU, but it's just worth watching because it's been trading so well the last couple of days as AMD. So I'm going to watch this one as well. We're going to have a 43.42 high of the pre-market, and then towards the bottom you got the previous day close very close to the low of the pre-market. I mean, you can mark the low of the pre-market, but the previous day close, keep this in mind because that's a very strong level on your chart. Towards the bottom, some really nice levels. If we sell off, I don't expect that type of sell-off, but you have 42, and you also have around 41.44, which is the high from 2 days ago. If we can break out of this towards the top, the next level from the high of yesterday, just in case, it marked down 47.74. You can see here several days testing that high. That could be an area if we can break out towards the top, break past the high of the pre-market and past that 44. You can have a possible target up there. BBBY, the only thing that I like about this one, well, it has good volume, not a clean pre-market activity at the moment, but the daily looks interesting because we're down here. Low of the pre-market at 1071. We also have shares for short, and we have 1051. That's going back a couple of months here, going back December, going back to December in this area here. Mid-December, you had a nice little drop here, and that was a good area of support, and it takes off from there. So if we sell off, that could be an area that it can get to. If it breaks down that 1051, you know, the floodgates are going to open up, and this thing can drop. But again, wait for the setup. Those are just possibilities. Towards the top, you have high of the pre-market and the low from yesterday right on there. You can see how the low from yesterday is a very good support area. You have all these days bouncing off that, what is this, that 11, 15 or so. Then above that, plenty of levels, guys. Since this thing's been chopping around here, what it's going to cause all these levels to be jammed in here, right? The highs and low from 2 days ago, the previous day close kind of right in the middle. So plenty of levels there, but looking pretty weak this morning. WBA also moving up with the news, with the healthcare news. So here 57.50 high of the pre-market, low of the pre-market right under the high from yesterday. So I'm going to keep the high from yesterday as the level towards the bottom. Let's see in here. David from Connecticut mentioned a good point here. We have a nice little gap here we can possibly close if this news is strong enough. So 59.48 is where the gap closes. Then you have another very clean level. I like this level here. I'll tell you why right now. 61.13. If we zoom in, if we can get to this gap, which is not going to be easy, you can see how you have a support here, then it becomes resistance, and then it becomes support again before it finally gaps down and breaks down here. So this 61.13 could be interesting. All right, out of the top four today, I don't really like any besides NVIDIA. So I'm going to remove some of these. I'm going to keep NVIDIA as possible. We have way too many, so we got to make this list just a little smaller. What's going on with CODX? It's kind of losing some momentum here. It could become a good one if it can take off at the open. But again, I'm probably not going to watch this one. But for the low flow team, that's the one that looks the best today. That's got some movement. NTNX, I'm going to watch as a possible later on today. All right, folks, let's just go through this one more time. How many we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a possible. Let's make this smaller. What you could do is here, out of the healthcare, CI, right? Cigna, CVS, and you also have WBA. As we get closer to the open, I'm gonna pick the best one out of those three, and that's how I'm gonna reduce my list. The rest I'm gonna watch. I think they look great. WBA is nice. I like the price range. I like this gap that we have here to close. CVS is also nice. I like the price range. It also has a nice little some clean levels here. CI, you know what? CI is a little on the higher price, so that's what I'll do. I'll remove CI. I'll do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So that's our watch list for today, folks. Thank you for joining us. Peter, did I miss anything before we log off?
No, that's what I'm watching too.
Excellent. So Brian's going to come on in a few minutes, and then Andrew will see what those guys are watching, and we'll make adjustments accordingly. Take care, guys. Have a great day on YouTube. Trade safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, Friday, 8:30 Eastern time, as we close out the week. Take care, folks.
Thanks, everyone.